All right, everyone. Hello and welcome into our post-game coverage video following the Minnesota Vikings' thrilling first win of the season over the Seattle Seahawks at home by the final of 30-17. Lots to react to, lots to talk about, but before we get into that, don't forget to leave a comment on this video down below because you could potentially be featured tomorrow in tomorrow's video called The Day After Seattle. That is our little group collaborative project here on our little piece of Vikings internet, our little corner of Vikings internet, I should say, where you leave a comment, ask a question, give a reaction. I will clip that, put it in the video, react to it tomorrow, the day after Seattle. So that is your comments, my reactions, our video. That is our collaborative project. So don't forget to leave a comment below. Remember to keep them short, concise, and to the point because the screen caps can only be so big. About 3 to 5 sentences is probably about the maximum that you're going to need. And, always ask a question. I've been getting a lot more questions recently, and that's been a really, great thing that I've always wanted to be able to do, was to answer questions from viewers about the Vikings, the players, or just anything in general. Just whatever you want to do, leave a comment, and I'll try to feature about 10 to 12 tomorrow, and that will get uploaded sometime tomorrow afternoon, so look out for that. Anyway, let's get into the celebration of the day, and that is the Vikings getting into the win column against a team that has been a thorn in our side for years. So we get our first win over Russell Wilson in 8 attempts. You're not beating Mike Zimmer and the Vikings in 8 straight time. It's just not happening. Welcome to the jungle. Now, how does it feel to play at US Bank Stadium, Seattle, right? Because we've had to come to your stadium for so damn long, and it feels nice to be on the other end of this for a change. So, lots to talk about. Where do we begin? The good, the bad, the ugly. Well, there wasn't very much bad, except for the first half defense. That was pretty atrocious, right? Whatever adjustment they made at halftime, thank God for that, because they turned the tables. I think they gave up about 80-some yards and no points to the Seattle Seahawks offense in the second half. So credit to the defense, Mike Zimmer, Everson Griffin for having a really big game with the pressures, the sacks. That roughing the passer call and Everson Griffin, get the hell out of here with that. The NFL is a joke when it comes to being able to play defense in these rules. Huge credit, huge shout out to the home crowd for the Minnesota Vikings today, because that was the key to the game. And I said this yesterday on Twitter that, it 100% was going to be dependent on the home crowd being ruthlessly obnoxious when Seattle had the ball in order for the Vikings to achieve victory today, and they came through. So the home crowd get part of the W today because they were an integral part to the Vikings' success over the Seattle Seahawks, forcing Russell Wilson and that offense to have a really hard time accomplishing anything pre-snap on the field. What else can we talk about? Kirk Cousins had just a great day. Like, this is the best that I've ever seen him play for the Vikings. And you may be thinking, well, he had better stats and better games in the past. No, not like this. This was the best that I've ever seen. Throwing off his back foot, facing pressure, hitting KJ Osborne, not taking their foot off the gas. Credit to Clint Kubiak for, play calling, just calling a really great game. Today, they go for the jugular, they just march down the field. They could do they could have just did some runs, eat some clock, but no, they kept throwing the ball on third down, hitting Justin Jefferson for first down to extend the offensive drives late in the fourth quarter. And, Kirk Cousins, hats off to him. He's played phenomenally this year. He has 13 touchdowns, no interceptions, almost 1,000 yards passing. He was 30 for 38 today. He looked really on target, had a couple of misfires, but when you have a good of a game as you've had today, you can't really get hung up on those misfires. So I hope that this is sustainable for Kirk Cousins. I hope that this is something that continues. The offensive line played good today. Maybe we played a little bit of a worse Seattle team than we're accustomed to, but that's a discussion for another day. I don't want to get too hung up on those kind of nuance and details, because we have some tall orders ahead. But as far as today goes, really great, fantastic. Defense played good in the second half. That's what we needed. This could have been a much uglier game for Seattle had the Vikings defense had their shit together in the first half. Well, I'll tell you that. Alexander Mattison comes off the bench in a spot start for the third time in his career and does very well. Easy as hell to rely on that guy. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen have a good game. Tyler Conklin had a touchdown, had a few good catches today. So the only thing that I don't understand is why we didn't see Cam Dantzler start this game over Bashaud Breeland. And, Breeland was getting picked on very early on, and that's probably what led to that early lead that they, that the Seahawks got out to by, I think it was 17-7. And then the Vikings scored 23 unanswered points to seal the deal. Greg Joseph, field goals today, we're good. Jordan Berry, a great punt at the end of the game to pin them at the 1-yard line. But getting back to Bashaud Breeland, what has Cam Dantzler done on this team where he is not getting the start and, more playing time than Bashaud Breeland? Because I just don't get it. Like, I know that Mike Zimmer has said that Cam Dantzler needs to play special teams in order to be on this team and to be active. And I'm just not sure that I'm understanding what else Cam Dantzler needs to do besides. It's got to be something. Editing's not good here. Hi, future me. I was just editing this video and I happened to come across this Cam Dantzler tweet that he just posted. So I've screen capped it in case he decides to delete it. But it looks like something is going on other than him just not playing special teams. So this is something to keep an eye on. Anyway, back to the video. More than that. But either way, that's about all that I can take away from today's game. Looking ahead, let's not crown ourselves yet. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. This is a day for celebration. We got the win. This is good. We're still 1-2. We still have a very tough road ahead of us. So the good news is that the rest of the division doesn't look great. The Packers 49ers game hasn't started as of this recording. The Bears got pummeled today by the Cleveland Browns, and that is something that we need to take note of heading into next week because the Cleveland Browns are next on the docket. They come to Minnesota next week. It's the Kevin Stefanski revenge game. So we're going to learn a lot about this team next week if today's success is actually sustainable or if that was a flash in the pan. The Browns defense is the focal point because we have an offensive line that is patchwork. It came together today. It did really good things. They've done really good things. But Myles Garrett looms very close, and he is a whole nother animal. If you look at what happened to the Bears today, Justin Field was absolutely swamped. Couldn't really accomplish anything. Probably the worst performance he's ever had playing football, not just in, professional or college, just ever. I think he had like 3 completions for 60-some yards, and then he actually only had probably a net positive of 1 or 2 passing yards because of being sacked 9 times and losing 68 yards on those sacks. So that is cause for concern. I think we have a better offense, scheme, coaching staff than the Chicago Bears do this year. So I'm not too worried about it, but it's still something to keep an eye on as we move into this week because we have exploitable parts on the offensive line, and the Browns could very well do some damage. So that'll be an interesting game this week. I'm also interested in the game after that, or our part 3 of the 3-game homestand against the Detroit Lions, because it looks like, as I said in the Pick'em video on Wednesday, the Detroit Lions are buying into the Dan Campbell formula. They almost beat the Baltimore Ravens today, and they would have if it wouldn't have been for Justin Flippin Tucker hitting an NFL record field goal of 66 yards. Man, my God, how can you be mad at it? But I think the Lions are going to be a tough game. That could potentially be a trap game, a sour note on the 3-game homestands, but that's just looking ahead. That's looking ahead based off what we saw today. What we saw today was hopefully the Vikings turning the table, getting the kinks out, figuring out, brushing away the cobwebs and the dust, and that they have found the formula. Now they have found the results to go with that formula. So hopefully that this is sustainable. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. That is my reaction to today's win. Very excited to get in the win column over an opponent that has just been a problem for way too long. So don't forget to leave a comment to potentially be featured in tomorrow's video, the day after Seattle. That's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.